Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and it is Monday. Jeremy Chuggs and I got a fun show on tap for all of you. For a lot of the people that watch this show for a long time know that I've been a big believer that it comes down to winning in the trenches. And coming up here on today's show, we're going to be talking about the trenches a lot. Antonio Pierce spoke to the media on Thursday, and there was so much concentration around Raiders rookie mini camp that I think sometimes we forgot or didn't pay attention to some of the things that AP said. So based off of a lot of the things that Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco, some of these guys have said just from Thursday and Friday before rookie minicamp got underway, there was a lot of tidbits that I really wanted to hit on and kind of speculate on. So that's going to be what we talk about here. And then based off of some of the reports that have come out, I believe that the Raiders have already told you what they are planning to do at the offensive line position. So not only your starters, but then also the players that they're going to end up keeping on that 53-man roster. So today, I'm going to tell you what the Raiders starting offensive line is going to be, how many players are going to make that 53-man, which guys end up making the practice squad, and which dudes on this roster right now, because we got 16 are going to get waved at goodbye. But you know what? We did get some actual NFL news, and again, for a lot of the people that watch the show for a while, I was saying for months that I really hope that the Raiders don't end up playing Kansas City week 1 because I got a wedding. Luckily, that is not happening. Good news is we will still be live here on the Raiders Report. Chiefs, Ravens is the opener here for the National Football League. I won't be here. It'll be Jeremy, and I'm going to let Jeremy pick his producer. He'll be the host of the Raiders Report that day. But let me know who you got, FKC or some balls.
It'll be like the OG Iron Chef, where there'll be like the green chef, the red chef, and the yellow chef. And I just go up there, I'm like, Red Chef! And it's Trace with just two, I don't know, knives.
Knives. Kamikotos?
Oh, no.
I know. Troy, what up? Juan Hernandez, I'm seeing nothing but BALs down below, and that's kind of the point. Anytime the Kansas City Chiefs play, my job here is I'm going to do my best, especially if they're playing in a primetime game, to figure out a way to go live for that event. Since I got a wedding, Chuggs is going to be the one that takes over on today's show. We also remember, if anybody wants to get those questions, comments on the show, hashtag Raiders.
Do we try to bring a live Raven into the studio?
What's funny, I was talking to somebody today. We're interviewing some people here at Chat Sports, and I made them call like a Raven.
Oh, yeah?
Not bad. Not a bad one. I'm not going to lie.
Can we hear your call?
Well, my first question was, what does a Raven make? In my mind, I was like, ah! What do you think? Is that closer to a Seahawk, or is that a Raven?
It could be a little bit of both.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, what about you? Your best Raven call.
No!
Oh, man. I'll tell you what.
Sounds just like a Raven.
I'll tell you this right now. If you're... What was yours? Trace has got a good one. Now we're just doing Chat Sports stuff. Somebody's like, if I walk down the street, I'm telling you right now, if I'm walking Chuck down the street and I look up at a power line and a Raven goes, no! Immediately running inside. Immediately running inside. Sam Miller, Kosh, what up, Aiden O'Brady? What up, Malachi, J-Code, my man PG2869.
So the question then bears, since it's not not Bears, but Raiders.
Correct.
Since it's not the Chiefs week 1, who do you want the Raiders to play week 1? I'll give you a second to pull up the schedule, Mitch, and you can kind of shout out some teams that could be a possibility. I don't think it's going to be a division matchup week 1.
I'll say this, though. It usually is. So
but I feel like all the ones that have been leaked haven't been so far. But
the Raiders play the Broncos a lot of the time week 1.
But this year, maybe it's different because we're getting...
Maybe it's different.
We're getting Chiefs, Ravens. We're also getting Packers, Eagles.
Yep.
In Sao Paulo, Brazil.
The home opponents, obviously, it's always the AFC West teams. If you need me to say those, you're probably in the wrong show. Then it's the Browns, the Falcons, Panthers, Steelers, Jags are the home opponents.
Give me Panthers week 1.
See, the only reason why I don't think that they're going to do that is because in 2019, it was Raiders-Broncos. I want to say the following season was Raiders-Panthers. week 1.
So you're saying they wouldn't want to do that again?
Correct, because they've done Raiders Broncos now twice since 2019. They did Raiders Panthers. That might have been year 2021. I don't remember which year it was in there.
Juice, I would say Packers too, but they are already playing week 1 against the Eagles.
The Raiders also don't play the Packers this season, so that's going to be tough.
Yeah, that would be a tough one.
That's going to be tough. Away opponents, Bengals, Bucks, can't be the Ravens, Saints, Dolphins, Rams.
Saints week 1, feed it, inject that into my veins right now. Saints, Raiders week 1. Give it to me. I want it. I need it.
That might break the internet.
Saints, Raiders week 1.
That might break the internet.
If that's the case, Trace is 100% my producer Thursday night.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. There is the part of me where I would love for the Raiders to play New Orleans week 1, but I also know that that game, no matter what, is going to be so much hype around it
Giovanni,
to start.
I want it. I need it.
Need it. But, I also know that you could put Raiders Saints any other week, and it's going to probably be the biggest watch party we do. I really think so, where there's a part of me that's like, give me a game that maybe I'm not as excited about week 1 because all the excitement's going to be there no matter what.
So we're back to Panthers.
Well, to me, the team, yeah. Would it be? Are the Panthers the most boring team on that schedule? Panthers, it's not the Falcons anymore. I don't think it's the Steelers. Is it the Jags with Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and the Bucks? I'll tell you what, this is a tough schedule. It's
maybe the Jags, maybe the Browns.
With Deshaun Watson, though?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of really, really big games here. Lot of really big games.
I'll talk to Deshaun, see if he can put out any feelers to see if he knows who's gonna play week 1.
Yep. Jesus. Let's go to Donald. Hey, Donald.
Did you see Vegas over/under for the Raiders at 6.5?
Yeah, I want to say that came out about last week, maybe a little bit before that. Chuggs and I have talked about it before on this show, and again, I'm not really surprised that this is what Vegas did. At this point, it's what I expect. Every single year that I have done this show, they have picked the Raiders to come in last place of the AFC West. They did it again this season, and I'm okay with it. I want this Raiders team specifically to be the biggest underdogs possible.
These lines like this are the ones that scare me early on because it's like, oh, Raiders 6.5, definitely the over. And then I look at another team, the Texans. They're at 10.5. I'm kind of scared of that one.
10.5 scares me for a Texan. I could see the
For
Texans.
a team that's not been there and had sustained success year over year, I'm like, 10.5 is scary.
See, 6.5 for me for the Raiders is the most Sherlock thing that is going to happen.
Call it Holmes.
Call it Holmes. I mean, because I look at the Raiders' opponents, and don't get me wrong, and I've already made my arguments why I think that they're easily going to hit this over. You won 8 games last season with the worst quarterback play in the NFL and Josh McDaniels. I look at the AFC West, that's 6 games in total. Let's say you split that. 3 games, okay? That means all you got to do is win 4 more games out of Browns, Atlanta, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Bengals, Bucks, Ravens, Saints, Dolphins, Rams. There's a lot of tough games in there. I can make an argument that the Raiders can beat the Bucks.
I always love those.
Saints.
I always love
Panthers.
I see it so much in the chat already. Every single this is the best part about schedule release. Every single fan base thinks they are getting boned by the NFL with their schedules.
Oh.
We have the hardest schedule.
The Raiders have the 9th hardest schedule.
It's always our team has the toughest schedule out there. The NFL is out to get us.
I just think I will admit this Raiders schedule.
Why can't we play the Panthers?
I think it's a lot more daunting.
Why
than
can't
what
we
people
play
realize.
the Panthers 3 times this year?
Be nice, but then again, that's a team that stocked up their offensive line. They're going to be a much better football team, even though I don't know if they can be much worse. The Browns, to me, are a playoff caliber team. I think Atlanta's the best team in that division.
Can we not play the Vikings more than once this year?
That would be great and bad, all mixed up into one. Let's go to my man PG. Steelers or Queefs week 1.
Well, it's It's only going to be one of them because
it can't be. The Chiefs play the Ravens.
Yeah.
PG. Chiefs, Ravens. That's where the NFL schedule is opening up. Those two teams, and then I also see another one. We'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Okay.
Let me go to this one. These are 4 offensive linemen that we're going to be talking about today. And again, shout out to the 555 people that are pulling up here on the Raiders Report. It's the middle of May. You're watching the Raiders Report in May. You're a real one to me as far as I'm concerned. So I genuinely want to know, who do you think out of the 4 linemen that are pictured up on screen right now, who do you think makes the biggest impact this season? Do you think it's Thayer Munford type TM, Andrus Peat type AP, Jackson Powers Johnson, give me a JPJ, or do you think it's Dylan Parham type DP? I will admit, it probably matters where you think that these guys are going to play. Like, I'm going to say Munford's going to be somewhere at right tackle. Andrus is going to be on the left side. Jackson Powers Johnson's playing guard. And Parham is going to be playing guard as well. It's just a matter of where exactly you think that they could potentially be starting. Most of the votes coming in right now are for JPJ, like Gatling Gun PG, James Butts, William Reinhart. And when I get into the show that I'm going to talk about today, breaking down which players do I think are starting, which players do I don't think are starting, which guys do I think could end up getting cut. None of the guys that are pictured right now end up getting cut, but there is somebody that is pictured here that I don't think starts. And then there is one person that is pictured right now that if you were to tell me, Mitch, only one player out of the 4 guys up on screen start every single game this season for the Raiders, I do think there's only one where I'd be confident to say, like, that's going to be the guy for the entire season.
Andrus Peat.
Maybe. J. Roy, super old news, but I'm still so happy the Raiders moved on from Carr. He's just good enough to get a big contract, but will never win shit. I think this is actually the problem that a lot of NFL teams face. It's kind of the debate right now amongst quarterbacks.
Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence is going to fall into that conversation of, yes, you found a quarterback, but just because you find a average quarterback, does that actually mean that you found a quarterback? Like, are you going to pay a Derek Carr $40 million a year? A Kirk Cousins $40 million a year? Are you going to pay a Daniel Jones $40 million a year? Like, for me, if I don't feel like my quarterback can get me to the promised land to win that Lombardi trophy, you're not getting the big money. You're not going to get the contract, which is, I agree with you, my whole thing on Carr, and I think a lot of Raider fans can admit this, where a lot of people knew that DC wasn't a elite quarterback, but we knew that he could be a fringe top 12, top 16 type of QB. I will admit, if Derek's on the Raiders last season, they probably make the playoffs because of how much better the defense was, and DC was a better QB last season than Aiden. He was a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer. That's not saying a lot. It is what it is. But then there's that other part of it, like the leader of your team has to be able to lead a group of men. When you're getting ready to go out and battle, do you want to go out and battle with Derek Carr? I don't really think that answer very often is yes. Remember, y'all, if you want a chance to get in, win some money, let's do a $10 50-50 raffle today at Mitchell Renz 365. I just had somebody send me a really, really interesting picture of...
Did you get in last place?
It's a rumor. No.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, though. So there's a rumor going on right now that Mark Davis might be a dad soon. So the rumor is this. Remember Mark took a picture. It's with her name's Hayden Hopkins. She's a 26-year-old influencer. She was spotted with Mark Davis at a Raiders game. Well, she just posted on IG she's pregnant. So it's like there's some speculation out there that Mark might be the dad. Obviously, it is merely speculation.
Baby comes out with a bowl cut. The doctors all look at Mark.
Comes out with a bowl cut and a Mini Cooper, and you're like, yep, that is Mark
bowl
Davis.
Cut, Mini Cooper, and a Raiders starter jacket.
I'll tell you this, though, man. It's you instantly are good. You know what I mean? Like, you're that baby. You don't got to work a day in your life. You're good.
Oh, my God.
Because Mark can't be the dad that says, no, you got to work for it. Can't say it. Here you go. Here you get everything.
He's a fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
All right, I got a few people here getting in our duck race here.
Only the real ones know that reference. If you do, drop it in the comments.
You've made that reference before, and I don't know it.
Fat guy in a little coat. Real ones know. If you know it, let Mitch know who it is.
Justin Gilbert, you in. Luis A is going to be in twice.
Yep. I think the chat gets it.
Juan Gutierrez is in. I guess I don't get it.
You've never seen Tommy Boy?
Oh, Christ. Yeah.
There's the
I honestly, though, that reference isn't.
There's the
ringing a
one
bell.
Chris Farley scene, and he's in a.
Jamari's in twice.
He has like a blazer that's way too short, and he's like, that guy in a little coat.
I see. I got to see it. I honestly, it's not ringing a bell, and I pride myself on Chris Farley knowledge. We got six people that are in
and
right
ringing bells.
Now. And what?
And ringing bells.
Ringing bells.
You said you pride yourself in Chris Farley knowledge, and I said you also pride yourself in ringing bells.
You mean gongs?
Yeah, this and that.
That. Gongs, all sorts of Noti bells, the Noti gang.
That's a bell.
That's a bell. There's a lot of bells, though. Rebel, Mitch.
If it isn't the bell of the ball.
Mitch to the Raiders training camp in SoCal Fund.
I think this puts us almost there.
Yeah, I would say this gets Jeremy and I enough to slack our bosses. Hey, can we do this? I will say, I know you brought it up. I know we've had a few people bring it up to try to get Chuggs and I to training camp in SoCal. I'll talk to the bosses about it. We still got, luckily, a few weeks away until we really take a deep dive into it, but it'd be fun to do for a day. I will also say this, though. I am a big believer that you don't have to go to SoCal in order to cover training camp, and I'd actually almost make the argument at times, like doing what Jeremy and I do, I'm going to be able to cover training camp better here than I would actually at training camp. Because the thing that people don't realize is you're so far away from the action, where I can actually be closer to the action here.
Especially with the Raiders. Other teams, I know their training camp and practices, they have like fans on the sideline. They're all there watching it, and like the media is like right there.
Yeah.
From what it was last year,
now again,
they looked like they were like 2 buildings away.
You got a new coaching staff, so sometimes like that changes things. But like McDaniels and Ziegler, they would make like the Raiders beat reporters were watching practice from 3 football fields away. Like I don't care who you are, you're not going to be able to see a lot when you're 3 football fields away.
I think Devontae ran a good route. It was either Devontae or that was Jacorian Bennett. I'm not sure.
That was either Devontae or Brock Bowers, but from here, I can't tell.
Austin.
Rick Hand, you in. Aaron Yans is also in.
I think JPJ sets the tone for our O-line this year with his physicality. Also, I heard Patty Mahomes eats corn the long way. Can you confirm? Yes, I can actually confirm he does eat corn the long way, 1 bite.
Wow. He learned from his brother.
Yeah, uh-huh.
It actually runs in the entire family from what I hear.
He comes from a long line of long way corn eaters.
I'm actually pretty sure that's the only reason why he ended up making it to Kansas City. I'll say this, though, Austin. 1, get a picture. 2, I do think that JPJ is going to be that tone setter. And, I mean, you can already, like, hear him talking about it at practice, and he's already saying the right things, and he's saying things that I just know, like, fire people up. Like, for a rookie to be able to go out there and be like, hey, if you play for the team on the front, then it's going to bless you on the back. Like, the name on the back. Like that kind of stuff hits hard. I mean, that's what I want, though. I want somebody who's trying to set a tone.
That hits the right spots.
And JPJ's trying to literally put your dick in the dirt every single play.
He just pushes your buttons, Mitch.
Yep, he just revs my engine.
All the right ones.
He knows what he's doing. If JPJ was in a duck race, I hope he finishes last. I hope he finishes last.
All right, speaking of finishing last, let's get into today's show with Antonio Pierce talking about the Raiders' offensive line, which will not finish last this year. Oh, they might finish first.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I had no idea. Slight part of me got a little nervous.
Uh-huh.
There was a slight part of me that definitely got a little nervous.
And then afterwards, you kind of liked it.
Yep, that's usually how it goes. What up, Brian Robbins, Cash, Indiana Raiders, Scott 24. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button. It does help us out a lot. Cash, if you have a question about Najee Harris, if anybody has a question out there that you want up on screen, you got to put hashtag Raiders in front of that question. So even if it's just Najee Harris question mark, hashtag Raiders, Najee Harris, then I can put it up on screen and I can answer it. If you're just asking me questions without hashtag Raiders, our system cannot put it up on screen.
Yeah. Come on.
And so I'm throwing it out there. I see a few people that are a little bit new, is my guess. But
we will be answering all the Najee Harris questions on today's program.
If that's what you want. All right, first one is going to be Prize Picks. Also, second one is Prize Picks too. Perfect. All right.
There we go.
Coming up, we're going to get into the latest here, some of the rumors that Antonio Pierce talked about and just some of the speculation that derived from some of the things that he said before Raiders rookie minicamp last week. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up, the latest on Thayer Munford, Jackson Powers-Johnson, Andrus Peat, and Dylan Parham. Antonio Pierce spoke to the media last week before Raiders rookie minicamp, and he said a lot of things about a lot of different players. He talked about all four of these guys up here, but what he also said was like certain little tidbits that I think people might have missed just because there was so much hype around rookie minicamp. So based on some of the things that AP said, I'm going to get into the latest and some of the rumors and some of the big trending talking points around these four players right here because there is a lot, and I mean a lot, to digest on. Also, this is the Raiders Report, but guess what? We cover the NFL on top of that, and the NFL has officially announced that the Week 1 game is going to be between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. This gets the season kicked off here in 2024. I got a wedding actually on Friday, so I actually will not be the one covering this game. But my man Jeremy Chuggs, he's going to get an opportunity to go live on this show. And if you're going to be watching that show with Jeremy Chuggs, I want you to spam FKC down below because, hey, you got to keep your friends close, but you got to keep your enemies closer. And that's just another reason why you hit that subscribe button. Nobody does what we do here at the Raiders Report. If you're looking for that Oakland field of games, I promise you we're bringing it every day here. All right, so let's get into our Raiders rumors roundup around the players that I just talked about. Thayer Munford, here's going to be the first story. And is he going to be starting for the Silver and Black Week 1? To me, I'm going to give this one 3 just win babies, and that says that there is a 75% chance of this one happening. I know we get a lot of viewers out here. Anytime you see just win baby heads, I'll try to do my best to explain what they mean. But 3 just win babies means 75% chance of this happening. And Pierce spoke to the media before the Raiders rookie minicamp and said that right tackle is Munford's job for the taking. One of the things that I talked about before the 2024 NFL Draft was the most intriguing player that the media is not talking about around the Raiders is Thayer Munford. And I said on this show, if the Raiders are really confident in Munford, there's a chance that they don't take a right tackle as early as what everybody thinks. Wouldn't you know it? Raiders decide to pass. They stick with Munford. But when you listen to Antonio Pierce talk, he sounded like a dude that was super confident in Munford's ability. He even threw out the term like, somebody asked him about Munford not playing right tackle, and Pierce is like, y'all said that. I never said that. To me, when you listen to AP talk, it sounds like the Raiders' plan all along, and this organization, from their new offensive line coach, James Cregg, from their new GM and Tom Telesco, that they have always been confident in Munford's ability to go out there and play right tackle. And realistically, I think some of the actions that the Raiders did, they backed that up. Words are one thing, and I get it. Words are one thing, even with this organization, and I know, I believe AP. I believe what he has to say, but actions always speak louder than words. So my question to you is this. Will Thayer Munford be the Raiders' starting right tackle this upcoming season? Give me a yes. Give me a no. This is what we like to do here because I don't want to walk into any group of people and I'm the only one talking. I also don't like to sit up here and talk by myself. Believe it or not, it's not what I try to do. I want to see what the live chat has to say. I want to see what you guys have to say down in the comments. Will Thayer Munford be the Raiders' starting right tackle in 2024? Let me know down below. My answer is yes, I do think that it's going to happen. Now, the reason why I gave that 3 just win babies is because it's not a 100% lock. We still got to see what he looks like in May, June, and July. So let's go throughout the idea that maybe he potentially plays offensive guard or tackle. But to me, the action of, and it's the loudest action of them all, the Raiders passed on right tackle at pick 13. They also passed on right tackle at pick 44. Yes, they did reach a little bit on Delmar Glaze, who is right now going by DJ Glaze. They did pass on him, but even him, he's somebody that can play right tackle. He's somebody that can play right offensive guard on top of that. Munford did play 263 snaps at right tackle last season. He also played a little over 200 at left tackle on top of that. But what I hear, AP is confident. The Raiders' actions seem like they're confident in Munford. And just everything that happened at rookie minicamp this past week tells me that if the season started today, Thayer Munford would be your starting right tackle. Let's go to the next story coming up here on the show, and it's around JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson. I'll tell you what, this rookie fires me up. If he fires you up, let me get a JPJ down below. And I'm going to tell you whether or not I think the rookie's going to be starting week 1. Before I do, though, I got to give a shout-out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. NBA games are flowing, and even if there's a blowout game, like we watched the New York Knicks get blown the F out by the Indiana Pacers, but guess what? I was still able to put some money in my pocket because I picked more, I picked less on a few of the players that were getting down in that game. And if you're like me, you want to be able to watch an NBA playoff game, put some players down, you got it covered. Also, WNBA, it's right around the corner. And Prize Picks, they also like to hook you guys up with some good deals. And right now, the deal on Caitlin Clark, here's the thing, she's dropping more than half a point. Give me the more on that. Sabrina Ionescu, I took the less, though. Hannes Rasu's wife. Grasu, though, no longer a member of the Raiders, but hey, maybe you can still roll with him in some of the picks. Brianna Stewart, we decided to go less on that one as well, 19.5 points. Bottom line is whether it's NBA, season-long NFL, WNBA now, you can go more, you can go less, and I always like to try to go where I have the best chance of winning, and the fact that Caitlin Clark, 0.5 points, this is where I would say, hey, go put your money where your mouth is. So again, if you want to get started, Prize Picks is simple. All you got to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS, and you're going to get a first-time deposit match of $100 when you use code CLNS. So one more time, in case you were picking your you-know-what, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's that simple. That link's going to be available to you all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. So is Jackson Powers Johnson starting week 1? You bet your ass he is. This one's for Just Win babies. Believe it, baby. Out of all the players that I'm going to talk about today, if you were to ask me, Mitch, who do you think you are the most confident in starting week 1 for the Las Vegas Raiders? His name is Jackson Powers Johnson. Now, I'm only saying that in terms of the guys I'm talking about today. Colton Miller, obviously going to start. Andre James, obviously going to start. JPJ, though, is the one that I'm the most confident in starting on that line. And he was working at left guard at rookie minicamp, and left guard was the position that I've always envisioned JPJ playing. Now, some people speculated maybe he would play right guard because he's played right guard way more than what he's played left guard at the college level. But, like, I can guarantee you he's playing somewhere on that O-line, and I can guarantee you it's going to be either left guard or it's going to be right guard, and they love this guy. This is somebody that we had as a round 1 grade on. I knew Telesco was very, very high on him, so much so that I even made a video that I like JPJ, but I didn't want the Raiders to take him at 13. When you look at the 829 snaps last year, according to PFF, an 84.3 overall grade. No sacks, no hits, 1 hurry, 9 penalties is a little bit high. However, I do give JPJ a little bit of credit in that regard because when you play at Oregon's fast pace and you're the center, a lot of times the penalties are going to fall on you for either false starts or snapping it too early. So honestly, I don't look at the penalties being the same thing because everywhere else, he was just an absolute stud. But when you think about the fact that he's working there at left guard, Telesco called Andre James on draft night to let him know he's starting at center. So, like, that already tells you that Andre is going to be the starter. They still drafted him with the idea that he's going to start. And then with the 829 snaps last season, they all came at center, which might scare some people out there. And I can understand that when you take somebody that early, you're like, sure, Mitch, but can they translate to the next level at guard? The way Jackson Powers Johnson plays and how powerful he is and how much he loves football does make me very confident that the transition is going to be very easy. I also think at center to offensive guard is an easy transition to make at the NFL level compared to maybe some other positions that it might not be as easy, where we've seen the Raiders try to convert some strong safeties into linebacker. That's a lot more difficult. When you look at his college snap breakdown, I mean, it's 66% of the snaps are coming from center. It's like 32, 33% here from right guard. And then, Yeah, you got 27 snaps. Are you confident putting somebody who's only played 27 snaps at left guard as your starting guard? I mean, the Raiders got to make a tough decision. All I know is this. He is starting at offensive guard this season. And if you're Dylan Parham, you're probably hoping that JPJ's at left guard. Because if the silver and black decide to put JPJ on right guard, I'm telling you right now, if I'm Dylan Parham, I'm getting a little bit nervous because of what Antonio Pierce has said based on the actions that the Raiders have made. So coming up here, I'm going to tell all y'all why Parham is hoping that JPJ is playing left guard, because if JPJ decides to go on the right side, or if the Raiders say, hey, we're going to put you on the right side, Dylan Parham's job is not safe. And I'm telling you that right now. It is not safe at all. Let's go to the next story coming up here, and because this impacts Dylan Parham. It's around Andrus Peat, and is he going to be starting week 1 for the Raiders? If you were looking for Raiders rumors around the offensive line today, I promise you this, you're in the right place, and I also know that there's a special type of person that's watching the show. Again, not only are you watching May 13th here on the show, but you're also learning about offensive linemen. People that watch this show, you're a real one, man. This one, though, I'm going to give only one just win, baby. I'm going to say that there's about a 25% chance that Andrus Peat does start week 1 for this Las Vegas Raiders football team. And the reason why that I say that is because they signed him right after the 2024 NFL draft. He was the 3rd player signed after the draft, following Michael Gallup, following Jalen Guyton. And the Raiders kind of showed you yet again where their concentration is. They did it in free agency. They did it in the draft. Once they set their mind to something, they're going to try to fill those needs. Pierce also said, and this is like the biggest part of it, that he's going to stay on the left side of the line. I know a lot of other people here amongst the nation, as soon as the news broke that, hey, the Raiders are signing Peat. Also, it's officially official that they did sign Peat today. I should also say that it is officially official that the Raiders have now signed all of their rookies when Delmar Glaze and Jackson Powers-Johnson signed today. But when Peat was signed to this team, I was wondering, like, are they going to try to put him on the right side, and are they going to try to have him compete with Thayer Munford? What did Pierce say right off the jump? We're only going to keep him to the left side. The fact that he said that they're only going to keep him on the left side, again, actions speaking louder than the words of they are a lot more confident in Thayer than maybe what we originally thought. The other part of that is, though, AP said that he's got offensive guard Pro Bowl potential. So the fact that offensive guard Pro Bowl potential is what AP is saying, like, that's where they think that he's going to go. They think he's going to be left guard. Also said that he could be a backup to Colton Miller. So the Raiders are here, again, looking for a little bit of versatility. But if JPJ ends up playing right guard, then I think that you're looking at an Andrus Peat, Dylan Parham battle there for left guard. If JPJ's the guard, no battle. Pete's going to be the backup. But if this is the left guard battle, I think it's going to be one that we got to look at, we got to talk about, man. So if you could pick a starter, this is at left guard and at left guard only. Are you going to go with Andrus Peat type AP, the former first rounder, somebody that played, I want to say got 16 starts or 16 games last season, 12 starts in total? Or are you going to go with Dylan Parham? I want you to type DP. The reason why I am going to go with Dylan Parham over Andrus Peat is because, one, I don't know why. I think Parham kind of gets ripped on a lot more than what he deserves to get ripped on. I will say that I think he's on the hot seat, and why I'm kind of talking about what I'm talking about is because we talk about it all the time with new regimes, and the one player that I feel like has kind of escaped the brand new regime coming in here conversation of could they be traded? Are they on the hot seat? Parham has started 2 years, and he's been a good guard considering what he's had to deal with his first 2 seasons. But this is a brand new regime, and if they want him to be at left guard, I do think he's going to compete with Andrus Peat. So coming up here, I'm going to tell you why Parham will be the starter over Andrus Peat. Before I do, man, I'm super excited, and I'm finally going to be able to give you guys my Madden schedule for 2024. So one of the things that we did last season was for every single Raiders game, I ran a Madden simulation, Jeremy Chuggs and we did a live watch party as if it was the real thing. Now, I know it says game 1, and we're going to show you all the way up to game 17. So if you want to just take a screenshot of this, save it. The dates might fluctuate just in case, I don't know, Jeremy gets sick. Maybe Chuck needs to go to the vet. I need to take an off day. We will do our best to keep you guys up to date. The more important story is, one, the official NFL Raiders schedule is going to be coming out on May 15th. We're going to break that down for you. We'll also tell you which games are going to be when. But the bottom line is, even though this is the offseason, nobody's pumping out as much content as the Raiders Report is. So please, another reason to subscribe, another reason to turn on those notifications and join us, because we had a lot of fun last year with the Madden Sims, and I'm excited to be able to do it yet again. All right, so coming up here again, why Parham will be the starter over Andrus Peat. And to me, Parham does have experience to play right guard, and because I believe that he is going to be the right guard, I'm going to give this one 3 just win babies, that this is the direction that the Silver and Black are going to go. Parham has started at left guard the past 2 seasons there. He did have to fill in one time at right guard for just a brief moment early on in his career, but JPJ working out at left guard, and like, if I'm going to have a quarterback like Aiden O'Connell, like Gardner Minshew, who would I rather have protecting my blind side, Dylan Parham or JPJ? I would rather have JPJ protecting my blind side. I'd also rather have a guy like Parham to be next to Thayer Munford, who those two guys, I would want Parham, who's got more NFL experience, to go with Munford, who's got less NFL experience compared to them. JPJ, who's got the least amount of experience. I would rather him be sandwiched between Colton Miller and Andre James. Like, that just spells more success for this organization to me. But Parham, with his experience at right guard, put him over there, and he was drafted by McDaniels and Ziegler. But even though that's the case, and I know that people think he's a lock-in to be a starter, I think that Andrus Peat is going to give him a run for the money if it's on the left side. So overall, I do expect him to start this upcoming season, but he could be on the hot seat if he's expected to start at left guard. It's going to be something to monitor. It's going to be something to check out. But you know what? You got to be able to protect the quarterback position, no matter who it is, whether it's Aiden, whether it's Gardner, or if you want some NFL breaking news, Jared Goff just signed a 4-year, $212 million contract extension with $170 million guaranteed. At one point, I am hoping that our offensive line can protect the quarterback making that much money. I just hope it's not a guy like Jared Goff. So quick recap here. Thayer Munford, he's going to be your starting right tackle this season. JPJ, he's going to start at left guard. Andrus Peat's going to be your backup to Colton Miller, who's battled some injuries, and also be that left guard backup, I believe, to JPJ. And then Dylan Parham, he's going to be your starting right guard. The Raiders want versatility on that offensive line, and I really, for those of you that are watching live, the next show that I got coming up here, and for people that don't watch this show live, the next show that you see on the Raiders Report is going to be a full breakdown of what I think this team's going to do from start to finish with that O-line, from players that they keep, practice squad, all that good stuff. Another reason why you subscribe. Big basketball game tonight, Chuggs.
Wow.
Let's talk about this Jared Goff extension, though, real quick.
$212 million over 4 years.
That's a lot.
Any guess on how much that is per year?
53?
Mitch, and everything they say about you is wrong. You're a good mathematician.
Let's go. But see, like, this is the part of the NFL where I'm starting to wonder, like, you know, we just talked about the Derek Carr, Daniel Jones is making 40. Is Jared Goff now, he's in this where you're giving him $53 million a year.
People, first thing that they said as soon as you said that, what about Hooker?
What about Hendon? He's a backup. Like, he's not coming to the Raiders. Hendon Hooker's a backup quarterback in the NFL, in my book.
Yeah.
Like, and I think if you're Detroit, you're actually going to try to do everything in your power to make sure that you have a good backup.
It's kind of more telling that Detroit did this extension. A little bit more telling about Hendon Hooker, because if they thought they had a starter in Hendon Hooker, correct, I don't know that they extend him 4 years, $212 million.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I know that people fall in love with certain players, but then actions speak louder than words type of thing.
This is crazy.
Let's hear it.
Lions have almost awarded $500 million this offseason on 3 players.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell. Combined, those 3 contracts, $444 million. Almost $500 million.
That's wild. That's insane. Because I can remember the year, because the Raiders had a really, really big offseason 2 off seasons ago. When they allocated, it was what? Derek Carr's money, Darren Waller's money, and then there was Hunter Renfro's money in there. Because Waller got 51, Carr got, I want to say, Devontae, that was the same year. Yeah, dude, That's a lot of money to be shelling out. But if you feel like that right now is your Super Bowl window, that's also all that money on the offensive side. Number one receiver, left side, blind side, quarterback. Yeah, that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
So now let's turn this into a more Raiders focus.
Okay.
How much are the Raiders going to have to pay Dak next offseason?
If Dak Prescott comes to the Raiders next season, I think it starts at 55. Because if you're Dak, you look at this contract that Goff just got, and you go, I want more. And I think he'll get more.
But then teams go, he made it to the NFC Championship game.
Who?
Goff.
No, I know. I mean, Goff has accomplished more in his career than Dak Prescott.
If it's the same exact contract, if Dak goes, you know what, I just want exactly what Goff got, but $2 million more. I want $214 million over 2 years.
How many years?
Over 4 years. The same. I'm
2
saying
years.
I'm saying
that ain't happening.
The same contract that Goff got, just $2 million more. Are you saying yes? Give me a Y for yes, in for no in the chat right now.
Again, I'm not I'm probably the wrong guy to ask when it comes to Dak, but I bet you that's what he's going to get.
If that was the contract, the exact contract, say it's even the exact contract as Jared Goff, and Telesco goes, Mitch, what should we do?
Honestly, man, I don't want to pay Dak. I really don't. I guess I would say no. I don't think you're going to win it with Dak. I don't know if you'd win it with Goff either. I mean, you're definitely a better football team. I mean, if the Raiders got Dak right now, they're a better football team. I mean, nobody's going to dispute that. I mean, you go from having a 6.5 over-under for wins, according to Vegas. You add Dak, I actually think that you'd be 10.5.
I think the Raiders are the second favorite in the AFC West easily if they have Dak.
Yeah, I don't think that's saying a lot, though. The AFC West is not a very good division right now. You have Patrick Mahomes. Outside of that, I don't think the Chargers are going to be that good of a football team. I think the Broncos might be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I think the odds for the Raiders to make the playoffs if Dak is the quarterback is extremely high.
They skyrocket, yeah. Now, I know Raider fans don't think Dak's very good. Dak's a top 10 quarterback, or he's right there. He is.
Saying you don't want a top 10 quarterback is crazy.
I mean, he is. Dak, whether you like him or not, he is a top 10 quarterback. I get it. I mean, some people probably think Aiden's better.
The same people that are saying no way to Dak at 55, we're so happy to pay Derek Carr at 40 whatever.
Yeah, I'd rather give Dak Prescott $55 million.
You were like, Derek Carr, 40-something mil for sure.
Well, Derek Carr at 40 or Dak at 55. It's Dak at 55, and it's not close.
Yeah, I'm taking Dak at 55 over Derek at 40 any day of the week, twice on Sundays.
Correct. Yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you on that.
Juan, Dak was in the MVP race.
Yeah, Juan. I'm a big. I don't believe in Dak in the playoffs, but
the only thing that you can say is Dak in the playoffs. If you're saying Dak isn't a good quarterback at all, you just don't watch football and don't know ball. Because regular season Dak, he's really an MVP level talent. If you want to give the excuse or if you want to say I don't want him because he doesn't have the success in the playoffs,
yeah,
I'll accept that. But if you're just saying that he sucks.
Yeah,
he doesn't. If he sucks, then Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Nah, and I think there's the Cowboys get more hate because of the media attention, and like Dak is gonna get that attention as well. But I think people who actually watch football know that Dak is a good quarterback, whether you like that or not. But I'm kind of done talking about Dak already. I was getting my hair cut this weekend. And my barber was like, oh, man, you guys have been crushing it. You guys did such a good job during the draft. He's like, but this Dak conversation, I can't get on board with it. And I was like, all right. He also works in a very Cowboys-friendly barber shop. Let's go to my man, PG.
You want to say it?
Sure. Patty Deep Hote Mahomes Raiders. PG, my man here on the show. We got 700 people here in the building. If you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. Also, another reminder that the duck race that we got going on is a $10 Venmo in order to get in. The last name that I got right now is Anthony Green, and then Charles G. So $10 Venmo, you would walk home with right now $80.
But the thing is, Ty, 55 mil this year is not the same as 55 mil 3 years ago. The cap keeps on going up every single year.
Like, I would say Jared Goff getting $53 million this year
would be the same as when Derek Carr got his money. I would say it's somewhat equivalent because the cap has gone up that much in the past couple years.
It has gone up, and it definitely has gone up. I would say Derek he got 37.5 when he went to New Orleans. I would say like that's the equivalent. If Jared Goff gets the exact same contract, probably like 44, 45 million, where Derek got 37.5. Like Jared Goff at 45 million or Derek Carr at 37.5. Like, come on. Like, you're going to go with Jared Goff. Goff is clearly the better quarterback over Derek.
Dixon, as much as I hate the Cowboys, and trust me, for people out there that are thinking I'm a Cowboy lover, I'm probably the biggest Cowboy hater in the office.
Yeah,
but real recognize real. That's like me saying, oh, the Chiefs are an awful team. Obviously, they're a good team. We hate the Chiefs, but they are a good team.
Buzz-o-matic, yes. I mean, the Cowboys are a good football team. Like
they would be a playoff team. They would be at least in the wild card discussion in the AFC.
Sure. Joby Wan Kenobi says Dak would cost Pierce and Telesco both their jobs. I'll tell you this right now. I think that the Raiders are actually a team that's gearing up to make a move for a quarterback next season.
If they don't have a quarterback, do they even have jobs to save?
Sure. Like, I'll tell you this, like rolling with Dak or rolling, if you told me would I rather roll with Dak Prescott at $55 million for the next 3 years, or would I rather roll with Aiden O'Connell on a rookie contract for the next 3 years? I'd rather roll with Dak because I don't think Aiden's ever going to get you to where you want to go. Again, I would look at it as I'm upgrading at the most important position in football. However, I am hoping that the Raiders figure out another way in order to do it. So,
I mean,
we'll see.
And at the same time, I feel like a lot of people see Dak and they only see the star. They don't see the player behind the helmet. They don't see the player without thinking of the Cowboys, which I know Raider fans hate the Cowboys.
Yep.
Deservedly so. The Cowboys are a trash organization, shitty front office, and I hate everything they stand for. But at the same time, you have to admit they have good players on their team at some points. If I'm like, oh, Micah Parsons wants to play for the Raiders, you'd be like, dude, Micah Parsons is freaking good.
He's amazing. Mo Shavia in. No Santana. You're going to be in twice here. And then I'm going to put in Frank Arias. You also in. So $10 Venmo, you'd go home with $100 here on the Raiders Report. Again, like I want people to get their questions in. I see a lot of people just leaving comments. And even if you just want to leave a comment, put hashtag Raiders on it because it does help us at least get it up on screen. I do see a super chat coming in here from James Mendoza. It says, get Jackson Dart next year to reunite with JPJ. Jackson Dart. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because besides Carson Beck and Shedeur Sanders, I guess Quinn Ewers as well.
Yep.
But I could see two of those guys flaming out this year. One of them, maybe not flaming out, but two of them not being first-round talents. One of them being that first-round talent. And somebody kind of like you said, Jaden Daniels last year, who was not on anybody's radar, and just his play this year just made him shoot up. Maybe it is
Today's actually Jackson Dart's 21st birthday.
Maybe it is a Jackson Dart. Maybe it is.
He's quarterback right now for Ole Miss.
Maybe it is your guy from Miami that you really like.
Cam Ward. And again, we have so much time to figure out what the quarterback position is. But when you look at how the Raiders are being built, it's not a team that I think is going to look at the quarterbacks in the draft being like, we're going to take a quarterback in round one. Because I think a lot of Raiders fans right now are thinking, like, to me, you're not going to be in the top 10 picks next season.
Uncle Drew, that's what I'm trying to tell him.
What?
He said 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions is mid?
Yeah, I mean, it's anybody saying Dak is mid, I don't really think watches a lot of football. That's the way it is. Cam Ward, yeah, he's a quarterback for the U. I promise you'll hear about him.
Dylan Gabriel is good, but he seems like one of those guys who's a good college quarterback and just doesn't have it to take it to the next level.
He stinks. He's not good. I agree. He is your college quarterback. That's the guy that you want to roll with. To me, he is a bad version of Tua. He can't. No, he's never going to make it in the NFL. No, if we get Dak, he will be our next Carr. And I disagree with that. I think if you got Dak Prescott, you would at least make it to the playoffs, where Derek's not good enough to get you there. Dak is good enough to get you to the playoffs.
I just think Dak gives you the best chance to dethrone the Chiefs as AFC West champions.
Based on the roster that we have right now, yeah. I mean,
if you added Dak,
the Raiders are a quarterback away.
If you added Dak to this team this season, I think they would be legitimate contenders to win the AFC West this year.
I don't disagree with that. I don't. I'm not gonna. You give the Raiders a top 10 quarterback. I mean, somebody that had a chance to win MVP last season. He did. He had a chance to win MVP. But hey, let's keep this show moving. I know that we get kind of annoyed talking about Dak. I do too. Dak was a 4th round pick, right? What makes AOC unable to reach that same potential?
Well, I mean,
it's the talent. Guys.
Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. So how come we didn't draft anybody in the 6th round?
I think, and I hate, I feel like you're just looking at
comparison.
4th round to 4th round. The only way Aiden is going to make it work legitimately is if he gets put into the perfect system, which I'll tell you right now, the Raiders are building a good system around him of saying, hey, Aiden, you're not going to be the one that wins us a football game. The defense, everybody else around you is going to win it. It's just when you watch Dak Prescott play and when you watch Aiden play, I mean, it's almost like literally lining up a Honda Civic next to a Lamborghini and saying, why can't that Honda Civic beat that Lamborghini in a drag race? It's because there's nothing under the hood of that Honda Civic that's going to get you there. What does Aiden do that's good? That's my honest question. To anybody out there, what does Aiden O'Connell do that's good?
And to answer Dan's question, they had CeeDee Lamb last year, but besides that, who was their number 2?
I mean, the Cowboys had a good offense.
I mean, they had a good...
They were underwhelming offense.
They had a good offense, but it wasn't like he had by far the best receiving core in the whole NFL. He had CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and then guy the Raiders just signed, Michael Gallup.
Yeah. Austin Larson says, dude has a cannon. Aiden has a below-average arm.
You're talking about the run game.
In terms of arm
the Cowboys
strength.
had one of the worst rushing attacks last year.
No,
Tony Pollard
I actually want to know what Aiden O'Connell does that I would say is above average for the NFL level. Because accuracy, not above average. Arm strength-wise, he's not even average arm strength-wise in the NFL. So you got to give me something else.
I'm not saying
doesn't get rattled in the pocket. That's cap. I think he's got really bad pocket awareness.
Oh, dude, if you want to see bad in the pocket, go back and watch that Chargers game where Khalil Mack had, what did he have, 6 sacks?
The mustache is legit, Zahn. The mustache is legit.
What did he have, 6 sacks against the Raiders?
Who?
Khalil Mack.
Yeah, it was a rough one. Now, that was early on in his career.
AOC,
I don't even look at that game.
AOC got sacked while Jermaine Illuminor was still blocking Khalil Mack. He reached over Jermaine and sacked AOC.
Yeah, I would say, again, I need, until somebody can give me an honest of Aiden does this at he does it at an average NFL level. The anticipation for receivers from Raider Gamer, I don't think that he has that.
I mean, Dak, and you're saying, but Dak
so I need something else. I need something that Aiden does at an average NFL level.
And if you're saying, Dak wasn't good his rookie year, that's actually cap. He was so good that the Cowboys released one of their all-time best quarterbacks in Tony Romo.
They went 12-4 that year?
Yes. Dak was amazing his rookie year.
Okay. Well, again, I want to see cruising all day. Civics are fast and can beat a Lamborghini. In a drag race, a Honda Civic can beat a Lamborghini? I don't know enough about cars. Maybe it was a bad example.
Base level, I would say no chance.
I don't think that's
maybe if
true.
you're adding a rocket power engine on the back.
I don't know.
And those mufflers that make it sound really loud when you go by.
Oh, dude, you get one of those loud mufflers that snap, crackles, and pops. And they're like, this guy.
Dude,
this guy right here.
Huge confidence in this guy.
Oh, man. Yep, I hear you. All right, y'all, let's get into the next segment coming up here on the show. We're going to get into the offensive line and what I think that the offensive line is going to be from top to bottom of players that are going to get cut. Because as it stands right now, the Raiders have 16 offensive linemen, and I'm going to say only a certain amount are going to end up making the team.
Dustin, how do we get to this? You said Raiders don't have an O-line or defense. That's the two things that they have, I would say, the best.
Yeah, I think Dustin is just trolling. There's no way we can't pay attention to that. If you want to get in our 50-50 raffle, remember it's a $10 Venmo. In order to do so, please don't be shy. Get in. It's a fun race. $10 to get in. Right now, the winner would go home with exactly $100 here on the Raiders Report, which I don't believe. I think I actually got another one. Oh, yeah, we got a few more people that are in now. Jason Gutierrez is in. Looks like also Josh I is in. And then Scott Eckert is in. So, if there's somebody out there, and I guess give me, if I got to watch some more tape, if I got to watch something on Aiden to make you guys feel a certain way, if there's somebody in the industry that's very confident in Aiden's ability, point me in their direction. I think everybody that I talk to,
I think Emerson put it correctly. AOC's ceiling is Dak's floor.
I think that's probably pretty fair. And I think that's probably pretty fair. If Aiden can turn into a top 20 quarterback by the end of this season, you're like, holy shit, that's a great year for Aiden O'Connell.
I agree.
I mean, if Aiden comes out and he throws for 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and honestly throws for like 3,700, 3,800 yards, I mean, I would be like, that's an incredible season for Aiden O'Connell. My expectation for Aiden, if he starts this entire season this year, I would say he's probably around 3,800, 3,900 yards.
And I agree with Josh.
Probably 22 touchdowns, 12, 13 interceptions.
I don't even think AOC starts week 1.
Oh, I don't either. I think it's Gardner, right? Like, I feel like we spend so much time talking about Aiden when Gardner's clearly going to be the starting quarterback for this team. And if Aiden beats out Gardner, well, then I'm going to be like, you know what? I might be able to spin my confidence of AOC did put in a lot of work this offseason, and now if he beats out Gardner, then yes, I am going to be a lot more confident in Aiden than I am right now. I'm just basing it off of what I saw last season.
I just think not only does Aiden have to work on his accuracy, his arm strength, I think he also needs to work on his footwork. I think he also needs to work on his pocket presence and pocket mobility and his ability to stretch the play and get outside the pocket, something we didn't see anything from Aiden last year.
Dixon, Antonio Pierce never said Aiden started. And, I think this is one of the things that it's kind of getting on my nerves here. Antonio Pierce never, ever, ever said that Aiden O'Connell is the Raiders starting quarterback. I've seen a few people go with that narrative, and it's just not true. He did say he's going to get the first snap, which means in training camp and camp in general, May, June, and July, Aiden's going to be one that gets that first snap. But that's not new information. That's been something that they've said all along.
That's the same thing as him saying Jacorian Bennett's going to get the first snaps at cornerback 2 to see if he can be the starter. It's not going to be DeCamerion Richardson. It's not going to be MJ Devonshire. Week 1, they're going to have the starting position. They're going to have to beat out Jacorian Bennett for that starting job.
Yeah, just like Antonio Pierce saying that it's Thayer Munford's job to lose. And it is his job to lose. He's going to get the first crack at it, and if somebody's better than him, then yeah, somebody else is going to take his spot. But we'll see. Jeffrey, that's usually how it goes. I don't know what happened over the weekend. There was some content creator beef in the Raider streets.
Really?
I feel like people don't include me in this kind of stuff, and maybe it's just because...
Is this some Drake and Kendrick type stuff?
I don't know. I saw Graf popping off, and then I saw Wasted's name getting thrown in there.
I'm just waiting for the day that I just see one Raiders content creator be like, and Chuggs don't know shit.
It happens. I think it happens probably more than what you even know.
I'm just glad it's probably more on your end.
That's definitely more on my end.
Yeah.
The amount of hate mail that comes through.
If they're going for Chuggs, that's a deep cut. That's a.
They're just hating at that point. All right, I got. Looks like Navman wants to get in this race as well.
All good. And then we have one more super chat to read, and then we'll get into today's show.
And then Nicholas Potter wants in.
Raider Nation Adventures with Jay Cino, my
man
guy.
right here.
I don't know why the nation has problems with change. AOC is not that dude. He's a cool backup, but definitely not a starter in the NFL. Go Raiders. I agree, and this isn't me saying, AOC, you have no chance at all. I think you're the worst quarterback ever. It's just, I'll believe it when I see it. From last year, it didn't inspire me of being like, you know what, AOC's got it.
I think the problem with content creators are, and this is, for content creators, for Raider fans out there, for people in general, people are afraid in life to give their honest opinion because they're worried of the backlash where, don't get me wrong, there was a part of me when I was like, I don't like the Josh McDaniels hire. I don't think it's ever going to work. And people would ask me all the time, Mitch, what happens if McDaniels is actually a good coach and you're wrong? Well, then I'm just wrong, right? And I think people are so afraid to be wrong when it goes against their team, where if Aiden's really good, everybody's going to come to this stream all the time, and they're going to be like, Mitch, Chuggs, you guys don't know shit. And you know what? I actually hope that it does happen. I hope that people pull up here to the stream and they go,
I really don't.
Aiden is that dude. I hope Aiden's a top 10 quarterback, and people are like, Mitch, you and Chuggs are dumb. You don't know anything.
My mentals can't. If he starts out extremely hot weeks 1 through 4.
I hope he comes out slinging it.
Oh, not even for that. It would be worrying for my pocketbooks.
Yeah. See, that's true. 5,000. Let's go, Aiden. Me and DeMokes are splitting that.
If AOC or Gardner starts out with
I legit though, JC, people are afraid to say that they don't think somebody on their team is going to be good in case he is good. It's a lot easier to say, no, I'm buying in. I'm going to take this guy. This is going to be the dude that's going to take us to the promised land. And then he's not good. And then it's easy to be like, well, hey, I was hopeful that it was going to happen. I'm not afraid to be the person that says, I don't believe in that. I don't think it's going to happen because I've done it my entire life. I've done it my entire career. You're going to be right. You're going to be wrong. And you got to live with it. And my opinion is Aiden's not that dude. That doesn't mean that he's not a great human being. He is a great human being. Great player. But the Raiders have also told you exactly, actions speak louder than words. If the Raiders were as confident in Aiden as everybody is watching this show right now, you would not have tried to trade up to number 2. You wouldn't have signed Gardner Minshew. End of discussion.
I'm just not ready to call bologna filet mignon.
Yeah, it's fair. That's
it's
fair.
It's not filet mignon.
You know what, though? If we can turn Aiden O'Connell, if Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco can turn AOC into a
New York strip,
into a legit NFL starting quarterback, that's a major win. It's a major win.
If he could be a ribeye.
A ribeye. Actually, I got to switch my jersey here real quick.
Oh,
I almost forgot.
Speaking of ribeye.
Speaking of a good ribeye, man. Also, Navman just asked me, can we get out of the Dak convo? 55 mil, not near worth that. Which, it depends where the Raiders are at, I think, to determine how much money you're going to spend. If the Raiders end this season 10 wins, and you're like, wow, they are a quarterback away from being a legit Super Bowl contender, then 55 mil is not out of the question.
Raphael said a skirt steak. If you had to compare AOC to a cut of meat, what would it be? I'm saying he's some bologna right now. Raphael says a skirt steak, which, not bad. I love some fajitas. Skirt steak, not a bad steak. Not a bad steak. Gets a little bit of a bad rep. I don't hate that. Carne asada, chopped liver.
No, he's not liver.
He's not liver.
Dude, liver's nasty.
Spam?
I'll tell you what.
Some spam masubi's not bad.
It's not bad.
He's some chorizo.
Something that I thought was not good.
Flank steak.
Juan Gutierrez, you, my friend, are in.
I don't think he's good enough to be bacon.
No.
Bacon's a top 5 meat.
What are we talking about here? Bacon's elite. You put bacon on anything and it's great.
Cash said he's chitlins.
What is that?
You don't know what chitlins is?
Is it like balls?
No, chitlins is intestines.
Oh, okay.
It's gnarly.
Yeah? Well, I guess Aiden O'Connell is pretty freaking gnarly.
I see Turkey. I see Oscar Mayer Ham.
I think actually Turkey's a good one. What if Aiden O'Connell is just turkey, no salt, no pepper?
Corned beef.
That's what he is. He's just, you know what? He's going to get you by. But you're not, he's bland chicken.
Chuck steak. Carne asada.
Anything with Chuck in it's got to be good, right? It's got to be good. All right, let's get back into the Raiders video today. I got one more segment for y'all coming up, and then we're going to get into a duck race at the end of the show. I know we talk so much about Aiden O'Connell, but again, I know that the quarterback is always going to be the center of attention, but the reason why I am excited to do today's live show and the reason why I'm excited to do our two segments today is because it's around the offensive lineman, where it don't matter who your quarterback is, if you can't protect that guy, it literally does not matter. And AP and Telesco, especially Telesco, subscribe to the idea of we're going to try to win in the trenches.
I'll go with that one.
Let's hear it.
Terrence, I agree with you. Hot dog. Hot dog's the winner.
I just hate hot dogs. I don't know.
You're un-American. I'm sorry.
I just don't like hot dogs. It's a weird texture. Like, to me, if you told me Aiden O'Connell's a hot dog, I'm like, you might as well just throw it away. You just throw it away, man. Can't make it happen.
Dixon Sider said, "What type of hot dog?" I'm going, all beef. Little Nathan's all beef hot dog.
Nope.
Not bad.
Can't do it.
Not bad.
Can't do it. Not a hot dog guy. Hit that like button. If we get 19 more likes, maybe I'll call my mom again. I was talking to her this weekend. She was like, I was so confused why you kept calling me. And I was like, to be honest, I was confused why I was calling you sometimes. Like, I wanted her to be able to talk, but I knew she would be kind of shy.
Darth Fatass said, TV dinner Salisbury steak.
It's a steak. You know what? It's not a bad one. Not a bad one. All right, y'all. Let's talk about what I think the Raiders are doing here this season. I think they've already revealed to you what their plan at offensive line is going to be, and we'll break it all down for you. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, I am a believer that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco have already revealed to you what their plan is going to be with this offensive line. I subscribe to the idea that it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. If you're not winning in the trenches, shit doesn't really matter. And the fact that people are going to take time out of their day in the middle of May to watch this show around the offensive lineman, I salute you. And if you're a real one, click that like button, because coming up here on today's show, I am going to tell you what the Raiders' starting 5 offensive linemen are going to be. I'm going to tell you left guard, left tackle, center, right guard, right tackle. Who's going to end up making this roster for a 53-man projection? Is it going to be 8 players? Is it going to be 9, 10? How many players on this offensive line make this roster? I'm going to tell you how many guys make the practice squad. And then I'm going to tell you, out of the 16 offensive linemen that are on our team right now, who we're going to end up getting cut and will not be a part of this organization this upcoming season. To make sure that you never miss anything around the Raiders, hit that subscribe button. Free videos all year long. There will be nobody that provides the amount of content that Jeremy Chuggs and I do around the silver and black May, June, and July. That I can guarantee you. People that I know are part of the Noti gang and always watching our show: Urza, Matt, Madvet, Ron Raspberry, Martin. I salute you guys. If you don't know what the Noti gang is, well, how about this? Why don't you ask some people about it? I want you to want to be a part of the Noti gang. We're going to give out shout-outs in the month of May, June, July, the entire offseason. So my question is, are you going to be a part of it? So here we go. What you're going to learn today, the Raiders starting 5 offensive linemen. This is kind of how I want to build this show because, again, you got 16 linemen on this roster as it stands right now. And we're going to just slowly chip away at that based off of some of the news, based off of some of the reports that we've seen. I am a believer that the silver and black starting 5 for this line this upcoming season is going to be this right here. You're going to have Colton Miller at left tackle, Jackson Powers Johnson at left guard, Andre James at center, Dylan Parham at right guard, Thayer Munford at right tackle. The reason why that I'm confident that Colton Miller is going to be at left tackle, he's your best lineman. That guy protects your blind side. Jackson Powers Johnson has been predominantly working at left guard during rookie minicamp, and a lot of speculation has him going there. Andre James was called the day they drafted Jackson Powers Johnson, gave him a 3-year extension. That's your guy. Dylan Parham has worked on the right side before, and Pierce seems very, very confident in Munford and even said it's his job to lose. My question to all of you out there, and it's going to be the pinned comment here on today's show, is I want you to grade the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line A, B, C, D, or F. A, it's excellent. B, it's good. C, it's average. D, it's bad. F, it's a big old fat fail. For me personally, my grade for the Raiders O-line is a B. I am confident in this line. I like what they have. I'm very confident in Colton Miller. I do believe Andre James is going to continue to get better and better and better as he's done. I can't wait to see JPJ to lay out some people. But, based on that alone, Colton, JPJ, Andre James, to me, that's a very good left side of your offensive line. Can Dylan Parham in year 3 take that next step? Can Thayer Munford take that next step? I believe Craig's unit has a lot to prove, considering the fact that last season, the past 2 seasons, we've had Carmen Brasilla, one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. He went now to the New York Giants. The Raiders have a good line. They still need to go out and prove a little bit more, but I do think that this line has legit top 10 potential. Let's go to the next thing coming up here on the show. We're going to look at the 53-man roster plan. So if I already gave you the starting 5, that means now how many other people are going to end up making that Raiders 53-man roster cut down? Last season, they kept 8 offensive linemen. Could they decide to keep 8, 9, maybe 10, so on and so forth? I'll tell you who ends up making the roster cuts. But I got to tell you about Prize Picks here first. I love me some Prize Picks, and I know I've been talking to you guys about season-long stuff here with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than a few seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types will make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. I told Chuggs to, you know what, Jeremy, give me your season-long outlook for this upcoming season on Prize Picks, and this is what he gave. And if anybody wants to roll with it, use code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. He's going to go with Dak Prescott more than 4,112. Is that what? Yeah, 4,125 passing yards. Xavier Worthy less than 799.5 receiving yards. Brock Bowers more than 4.5 receiving touchdowns. Josh Jacobs less than 7.5 rushing touchdowns. Chris Jones, less than 11.75 sacks. I'll tell you what, if you like doing season-long stuff with NFL, I love what Jeremy has been able to cook up here. I think that it's a lock, if I'm being real. Hell, give me a second. I might go with Prize Picks right now and put some money down on that one. But seriously, it is simple to play. You just got to pick more than, less than, only 2 to 6 player stat projections. Watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's really, really that simple. The Brock Bowers ones, man, they went down. So just saying, if you want to go check them out, go check them out. All right, let's get back here to the 53-man roster plan for Telesco and for AP, because I know that when you look at the entire roster from top to bottom, so right now as it stands, the Raiders' offensive line depth chart is as follows. Now, the people that are pictured are the guys that I just spoke about, and just because you see certain guys on this depth chart are a little bit higher than others, that doesn't mean that they're a lock to make the roster. We've seen it before where organizations decide to keep further dudes down on a depth chart because maybe they have more upside or maybe they're looking for something a little bit more in particular. But the Raiders, to me, they must be pretty confident in their line, and this has been a big area of concentration for Telesco his entire career, is to try to do his best to be able to build this thing. So overall, you got 16 offensive linemen. To me, the Raiders are going to keep 8 this season. And that might surprise some people, but based off of Telesco making it such a huge priority for them to go out and get offensive linemen, especially also re-sign linemen, like an Andre James is a move that doesn't get a lot of attention because he wasn't from another team. But the Raiders made that a priority to bring back Andre James early on. You made it the priority in the draft. You're 2 out of your first 3 picks, offensive line. What do you do as soon as you get out of the draft? Offensive line. They are trying to build in the trenches. So to me, the Raiders are going to keep 8. They maybe, and I'm going to say maybe keep 9, but to me, 8 players are a lock. So from already, I already got the starters in here. So that means you're going to have 1 backup, you're going to have another backup, and then you're going to have another backup. To me, the other #1 backup that is a guaranteed lock to make this team is Delmar Glaze, the rookie that you took out of Maryland in the 3rd round at number 77 overall. This is somebody who has played left tackle, left guard, right tackle. The common theme for the Raiders, for Telesco, is we're going to try to find offensive linemen that have a lot of versatility. That way, when we originally keep our 53 players, we're not going to have to keep 9 linemen. We're not going to have to keep 10 linemen. We're going to be able to keep that additional corner, that additional safety, that additional defensive end. And when you build out your 53-man roster, I think you'll kind of see what I'm saying here. But Delmar Glaze is a lock because of that versatility. Another player that I see as being a lock to make this Raiders offensive line, if he can stay healthy, it's Andrus Peat. And the only question is, can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy, he's a lock to make it on the left side. To me, the Raiders, I think that they really want to have Delmar concentrate on being that best all-around player he can be on the right side. So Delmar's concentrating on being right tackle, right guard. Andrus Peat and what Antonio Pierce saying that he's going to predominantly stay on the left side, backing up Colton Miller, also being a backup to left guard. That's where Andrus Peat's going to be, which that means then your final backup spot, you need to be able to find somebody that gives you a little bit more of that versatility on the interior, because Pete's covering left tackle, left guard. Delmar Glaze covering right guard, right tackle. So that name is easy to me, and it's Cody Whitehair. The Raiders, they signed Whitehair. He's got the relationship with Luke Getsy from their time in Chicago last season. Whitehair also has some experience playing center. He also has experience playing guard. So what the Raiders are doing, and it's a very smart thing to do, is they are signing veterans that they trust. They are signing players that they believe have that versatility, that can play all these positions, and they can do it with 8 linemen. So the 8 linemen that are going to make the Raiders roster this upcoming season for the O-line is the players that you see pictured. You got your starting 5. Delmar is going to try to hold it down on the right side. Pete's going to try to hold it down on the left side. Cody Whitehair is going to try to hold it down on the interior. So now that you see this, who's going to make your starting 53, again, this is based on if everybody can stay healthy. What's your confidence level in this Raiders offensive line? I want you to scale it from 1 to 100. 1 being you're not confident at all. 100, it's the best offensive line in the National Football League. I graded the starters at a B, and honestly, I probably would have graded the starters at an 85. I'm going to grade our overall offensive lineman when you add the depth in there at an 88, because I do think that Glaze in year 1 can at least be somebody that has backup potential. Not a scary thing to say. Cody Whitehair offers you some of that flexibility, can be a backup, your 8th man on like a basketball roster on your offensive line. That's good depth. And then Andrus Peat, him having the amount of starting experience that he has, over 100 career games started, and him being a backup is a good backup. The Raiders have a good starting group, a really good backup offensive line. All in all, I'm going to give this an 88 in my confidence level. Let's now go to the practice squad, because I don't want people to forget about the practice squad. And if you're keeping track at home, like, I know bottom roster guys, but that's what the Raiders Report is about. It's about talking about the 8 players that aren't going to make that roster, because that's what I like to do. So the Raiders, you got 16 players plus David Agoa on your practice squad. You're allowed to have 17 for the silver and black. So you started with 16 offensive linemen, minus 8 making the roster. That means I got 8 linemen fighting for practice squad spots. To me, the silver and black are going to keep 2 to 3 offensive linemen on that practice squad. So when you're picking from these 8 names right here, there's a lot of different areas you can go to. Also remember that age does come into factor. Also, like playing experience for the Raiders necessarily, I wouldn't worry about it, because all of these guys are either first year or like second year players in the NFL. Jordan Meredith has been kind of, bouncing around as well. But to me, I'm going to keep 3 practice squad spots based off of relationships and based off of what the Raiders have done this offseason. So to me, the number 1 guy they're going to keep on their practice squad is Jordan Meredith. And I don't really see another team swooping in, taking Meredith. He's a guy that played in 7 games last season, has some experience with the Chicago Bears in the past, but another dude that offers you some of that flexibility at offensive guard. The Raiders last season kept Natane Moody as their, we'll call him, veteran offensive guard on the practice squad. That's who Jordan Meredith is going to be this upcoming season. Then the next guy that they're going to end up keeping on the line is the player that I know for a fact they're excited about. And how can you get so excited if they didn't draft him? It's the UDFA, Jake Johanning out of Furman. He was a top 30 visit for the Raiders. He also was given some of the highest money in terms of the UDFAs being signed for the silver and black. Money talks, top 30 visit talks, and when you look at the breakdown, this guy can play offensive guard. He could play center, and he'd be a really tiny center at the NFL. somebody just needs to pack on a little bit of weight, but somebody who will make that practice squad. And then if they decide to keep one more, and this is where like Meredith and Jake are like the locks to me that are going to make the practice squad, Will Putnam is going to be the next name here. And if the Raiders are not confident in Jake Johanning and Jordan Meredith's ability to be that backup center, because both of those guys are guards, like that's where they're going to end up being. The Raiders then, I think, end up keeping Putnam, who can play center better than both of those other guys. I think it's also going to come down to Dalton Wagner. If the Raiders didn't have a different offensive line coach, I probably would have kept Dalton Wagner here over Putnam. But because you got a brand new regime, Wagner isn't owed anything. We'll see, though. Wagner is a player that I really, out of Arkansas, UDFA last season, who I'm very intrigued to see what they end up doing with him. So that means this. We're going to be looking at the players that the Raiders are going to cut. If you've been following along with us, it's kind of easy to put the 2 and 2 together. Though I do want to say we are getting ready to get our Madden schedule started. We're going to be going live on Thursday, May 16th. It's going to be the very first Madden game simulation. These are like watch parties. If you enjoy our watch parties during the regular season, then you're going to love our Madden games as well. Some of these dates may fluctuate just based on my schedule, Jeremy's schedule, but the bottom line is I want y'all to know that we are already planning and getting ready to do our Madden simulation season. We had a lot of fun doing it last season. We kind of predicted that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to throw all the interceptions because he threw a shit ton of interceptions last year. We were close to the correct projection as well. I want to say Madden had us finishing with 9 wins, missing the playoffs. The Raiders finished the season with 8 wins, missed the playoffs. The schedule gets released on Wednesday, May 15th. So once we get that final schedule, we'll be able to give you guys the full details here of when all of our games are going to be going down. The final thing that we're going to talk about here on the Raiders revealing their offensive line plans, because even though they haven't said what they're going to do, again, this show is about being that Detective Sherlock Holmes and being able to read the tea leaves, being able to see the smoke and tell you where that fire is way before it happens. The offensive line cut candidates. These are going to be the 5 players right now on the Raiders that are on this team that will not end up making this roster, and that's even including the practice squad. So Jalen McKenzie, he's going to be the very first to go. He was the only second-year guy that's listed on this list that had to go to Raiders minicamp practice. Never a good sign. And then some of these other guys like UDFAs here and there, they might get other shots on some other teams like Andrew Coker, the offensive tackle from TCU. But these are the 5 guys that the Raiders have on the team right now that will not be on the team by the end of the season. If you enjoyed today's show and you want even more stuff from me, you can always hit me up on IG and on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. And if you're trying to get into a good Aiden O'Connell, Dak Prescott debate, hey, you can always follow my man Jeremy Chuggs at Jeremy Chuggs on social media as well. We appreciate each and every one of y'all always tuning in to the Raiders Report. Remember, we go live every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. I will say the shows are starting to change based on the Madden schedule. Chuggs and I got a few other fun things up the tap. Who knows? We might even jelly wrestle here pretty soon. All right, who you got? Mavs, Thunder. Who do you think wins tonight, Chuggs?
Thunder!
I'm with you.
No, I want the Mavs to win.
I want the Mavs to win, but selfishly, I want every single series to go to a Game 7. Like, if you could tell me what I want right now, I would want
Thunder!
Me living down here in Dallas, when the Mavs win, it's a lot more entertaining. Also, that means I get to watch more Coop meltdowns. So I want the Mavs to win this whole series.
Oh, dude. Mavs versus Nuggets would be... Coop would have a breakdown every game with
that's a 4-0 sweep. That's a 4-0 sweep. The Mavs aren't beaten. I will say, out of all the teams in the playoffs, I was going to say, are the Mavs the worst team? But then again, they're up 2-1. The Knicks right now are the team that scares me.
I think the Mavs or the Thunder, whoever wins that Nuggets-T-Wolves matchup, which Nuggets tied it up last night at 2-2.
I think the Nuggets are winning it again. I don't see them. I don't know if they're going to lose another game this entire postseason, Denver. Like, who's challenging them?
Oh, yeah, Rebel, we know. Me and Mitch were laughing about that today
until
with
they
Marsh.
Get to the finals. What's up?
He said Marsh was miserable yesterday.
Bro, there were times where he didn't say anything for 20 seconds.
That's being generous.
It was unbelievable. Full meltdown, which I get it. Like, being in one of those watch parties where your team's just getting their shit pushed in, like, when the Raiders had that game where they didn't even get across the 50-yard line. You're like, what the hell am I supposed to do here?
It's
It's
rough.
brutal. And like that game when the Raiders a few seasons lost 48-9 to Kansas City. Though there's that complete other side of it when the Raiders they're up against the Chargers and you're like, let's freaking go. And they're just everything is going right.
Noah.
What's up, man? Question, if we don't have a quarterback to contend for the chip, will Devontae maybe ask for a trade and maybe get some draft capital and save some money? I mean, Devontae's kind of already nipped this one in the butt.
Not this season.
Devontae says he's not going anywhere, ever. Now, again, like, maybe that's not up to him. If you're the Raiders, I think he is going to finish his career with the silver and black. It is what he wants. He has said before that he wants to stay. I think what ends up happening, though, is the Raiders just restructure Devontae's contract and they just add even more and more void years to it. Unless a team goes, hey, we're willing to give you 2 first-round picks or something, just like if the New York Jets finish this season and Aaron's like, I want Devontae, and that's the team that just they throw you something unbelievable. I think Devontae's staying, and I think actually Devontae does want to stay. He was somebody that was like, he spoke a lot about it on the Crosby podcast.
And he was really influential about getting AP to stay.
Yeah, like, to me, there has been nothing that Devontae has said, the actions, even like Antonio Pierce saying Devontae's not going anywhere.
And I think it would be different if the Packers would have traded him and he didn't want to go to the Raiders. But he wanted to go to the Raiders. He wanted to play with Derek Carr originally, kind of realized
Derek's not that guy anymore.
Yeah. And then he was like, well, I think you got to respect him for it. I think Devontae's like, I made my bed. I got to lay in it. I got to figure out how to make this the best situation possible and make my time with the Raiders a successful one, which you got to respect.
Yeah, and that's, to me, the only reason why we keep talking about this is because the Raiders don't have a QB, which they technically don't.
And in today's, any sport, NFL, NBA, MLB, it's so common. And I saw somebody say this in college football about how the transfer portal is ruining players. It was Tyrann Mathieu, actually.
Yeah.
That the transfer portal is ruining players and making them worse NFL prospects because all you do is run away from competition.
Correct.
And if that's all you do, Jordan, considered by most to be the GOAT of basketball.
Yeah.
He had to fight his way through the Celtics and the Pistons before he could win an NBA championship. Could you imagine if Michael Jordan, after losing to the Pistons, was like, F this. I don't want to play for the Bulls anymore.
Imagine if Jordan, when he got cut from his 9th grade team, said F it. You know what I mean?
He didn't get cut.
Well, maybe he did.
He didn't make varsity. That story's BS. He didn't make varsity his freshman year, and he dropped 50 a game in JV. People are like, what a comeback story. He didn't even play basketball his freshman. He was on the
Unbelievable.
He was on the JV team his freshman year.
Hey, still though, you got cut by varsity. If you're a freshman though, and you're expected to be like LeBron James, ain't getting cut from his freshman team. I still think.
The thing is, he didn't get cut at all.
Who?
Jordan.
He played JV.
He just wasn't placed on the varsity. He wasn't cut at all.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Like, you're not good enough to play varsity. I still think that's a pretty interesting story. For somebody who wasn't good enough their freshman year to play on their high school basketball team, varsity, to then being the greatest basketball player of all time, I think that's pretty crazy. Now, again, depends maybe where you play high school basketball. Maybe in today's day and age where like you got some of these academies.
Going back to, way sidetracked. Yep. Going back to Devontae, though, you can respect it of the first, second, third hint of adversity, he's not like, F this, I want to get out.
Yep.
He's working his tail off trying to make this team better. And I can respect that.
I do respect it. You have to.
I somewhat lose respect for some of these college athletes, these players, even at the NBA level, who they have a bad year, the team doesn't do well, and immediately wants to blame everybody else and not try to make themselves better. They're like, you know what? It's everybody else's fault that the team wasn't good. I'm the outlier. I'm the person that's better than everybody else. So I just need to go.
I completely agree with you. And I think that's going to be a big thing that people kind of deal with. And competition, I don't think, is ever a bad thing. And in today's day and age, people want things way, way too easy. And Sure, there's certain things in my life that I wouldn't mind having a little easier, but then you don't really appreciate it when you actually work for it. Mo, why do you think the Raiders haven't signed a corner? A lot of different reasons. One, if I'm a corner and I believe in my ability, I'm waiting for teams to get that money that they get after June 1st, right? So the Raiders are a perfect example of that. If the Raiders are a team that wants a Stephon Gilmore and Xavier Howard, and they might have to pay him a little bit more money, why, if I'm that player that I know that teams are going to be calling me, I'm going to wait until they get that extra money and then we can negotiate a deal. I think it's also the Raiders want to see what they got maybe in some of these younger guys. And, you go out and you sign an Xavier Howard. You go out and sign a Stephon Gilmore. Right now, you're kind of committed to them. What happens if they're out there at practice and DeCamerion Richardson, MJ Devonshire, they're like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Which, it happens sometimes. And you want to be able to give that dude full concentration, and you want to be able to say, you know what? We might be able to see what this guy's got a little bit more. Some of these big-name corners, dude, they also don't want to be a part of training camp practices. They were like, call me in July. I'll see you in August. I'll be ready to go.
If you were going to get hired for a job and they're like, you know what? We're going to pay you the same amount, but you can either show up 2 months earlier or you can show up 2 months later. You'll get paid the same amount this year. But you can have 2 months off or you could start 2 months earlier.
Talking to Graf, who, again, was very tied in with the whole Marcus Peters situation last year, that Peters contract was done 2 months before he actually signed. It was never a written thing, but it was a, hey, I'm going to be a Raider this year. And that happens a lot more often than what people even realize. And it was one of the reasons why Graf was the first person on. It was I'm telling you right now, Marcus Peters is a Raider.
It's kind of like what Ndamukong Suh did the other year. Or
it happens all the time.
The last couple of years. All right, last chance to get in our 50-50 raffle, $10 to enter. I believe you win over $100 right now.
Right now, you would win over $100. I want to say you would win $130 is where I think you're at. Might even be a little bit more now. I see I Place Art, I think is the name, and then Patrick B, and then my man Patrick B again is in. So, final chance to get in here for a chance to win some money. I got Daniel Jimenez in. We got another leak here. The Cowboys will open their season in Cleveland against the Browns on September 8th. So that's another. So the Raiders had the Browns on their schedule. Not going to happen. Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott.
September 8th, is that the Friday?
When is September? Actually, when is that?
No, that's a Sunday.
Is it? Okay.
It's Sunday.
I'm not going to, you made me, I was like, oh shit, what does that mean? Dallas Cowboys, Cleveland Browns, September 8th.
Is that in Dallas or in Cleveland?
Cowboys open the season in Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In Cleveland on that Sunday.
See, so this is making me think this year it's not going to be divisional opponents week 1.
Tom Brady's Fox debut.
I think it'll be the Raiders are playing non-division opponent week 1.
The Raiders have played a divisional opponent. No, I can't say that because in 2021 was the Baltimore. All right, so it was Denver Broncos, and this is since I've been covering. Denver Broncos, Carolina Panthers, Baltimore Ravens.
Denver Broncos last year.
Denver Broncos.
So it's not going to be the Broncos again. Chiefs are already out. So it's either you're playing the Chargers.
I feel like that's not right. When did they play? The Ravens was Derek Carr's season.
Yoda wanted to know, did you get the VIN medal?
Yoda, Jenkins, yes. Yoda, you're in.
Also, death taxes, LA Crash Dog. I'm up. What's up, fam?
LA Crash Dog, you are also in.
Mitch, I couldn't get into Zoom last week, 3:30 my time.
So, Gunny, I actually sent out an email and I switched it up. I got a tattoo last Wednesday, and I had to unfortunately push back the time. The only two people that ended up joining were Ron Raspberry and 93 Navman. So what we're going to do this week, Crash Dog, is we're going to try to do the Zoom call again, though the biggest problem with this Wednesday is I don't even know what time I should schedule it because of the NFL schedule release videos coming out. So really what we might have to do is like take everybody's call from last Wednesday, and I'm just going to push you down the road where it might just be like May 23rd is the time to join.
Maybe it's a morning.
It's just, it's so, the problem with this week's schedule with the Zoom call is like, as soon as I get the Raiders schedule, I'm making a video on it, right? Like, or we might even go live depending if what other news ends up happening. So if I had to guess, I'm probably just going to send out another Zoom call, and it's going to be everybody that was supposed to be in it last week. We'll probably just push it down the road, though, to May 23rd. Yoda. Yep. You're good. I'm multitasking, too. I don't even know if I said your name. I might have just put you in, but you were in. You've been in for a while. Like, now we got 31 people in this race. 32 now. Luis Rod is going to go in again.
Dude, Luis Rod is the king of last-minute entry, wins the race.
See, Luis Rod is really good at, like, staggering his ducks. Like, he's going to try to get him in a few different spots here. All right, that's all we got for you guys today. I am going to send this list here to Jeremy, and we're going to get this thing running. So we got right now, winner would go home with, I want to say that's $160. If my math is mathing correctly, I think winner goes home with $160 today on the Raiders report. 10 to get in.
32 times 5?
Yep. I think that looks good. We will be live again tomorrow on the show. Again, only 2 segments, and that's just because Wednesday, when the schedule does end up coming out, Jeremy and I are going to make some videos that day as well. And then Thursday and Friday this week, a little Madden simulation going. I can't wait. It was a lot of fun last season. It's also fun just to like see like the random people are like, dude, these guys are going crazy for a Madden sim. And here's the thing. Anything you do in life, if you don't do it to the fullest, it's also good practice reps for Jeremy and I. Like, now we've done it enough, like, doing watch parties where I think we got it on lockdown. However, though, like, it's always good to try out a few new things. There's a few new things that I want to try. All right, so can we get a quick refresh, or shuffle, I guess is probably the better way to say that. I'm going to refresh my phone one more time here, and everybody is officially in. Winner of this race is going to go home with $160. Good luck to everybody out there. Patrick B right now has got a little bit of a lead here.
Little pink car. Yeah. Or they're go-karts.
Little pink car.
But even though these are the most dangerous go-karts I've ever seen. They have flames coming from the back.
And no doors. No doors, flames. I mean, and all these tires, they look kind of small.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a very, very safe race. Also, everybody looks like they might be related in some way or another.
Anthony doesn't even have a helmet on back there.
Who?
Oh wait, no, maybe it's a brown helmet.
I think everybody has a helmet on. It's just some people's hair might be. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Everybody's got a helmet though. There's no doubt.
Okay, good.
Who's got the lead right now?
10 seconds.
This is Gutierrez, I think. LA Crash Dog. Is it gonna be Gunny, Luis, Scott, Navman? Another win for the Navman. I'll tell you what, Navman's been winning some races. Who gets the butthole pick?
Hey, Allie, good news. Oh, no, not about that. Navman won.
One of the names that I need to be able to confirm to see if I got, I did not get you in. I see Crash Dog. Okay. I didn't get in PG for the second time, so PG, that's on me.
Daniel Jimenez gets the butthole pick, though.
Daniel Jimenez gets the butthole pick. That's good. I was worried. And then I also see, who was the other name here? Julio Zapata. I got to send you your money back as well. My bad. Bad.
Navman.
All right, let me pull up Navman here and send him his money.
Crazy SOB.
I'll tell you what. There's one person who, I can't find his name. This is a disaster. Did you change your name, Navman? Nope. The answer is no. Congrats.
Let's see.
All right, Nav, I need you to just confirm with me down below.
Was Ron Raspberry in?
Was Ron Raspberry in? Ron. I don't see Raspberry in there. Oh, Ron, I skipped you. It's brutal.
Damn.
I'll tell you what, I've skipped way too many people. I think I got everybody else, though. Yep.
I don't know. Buzz-O-Matic says him as well, but I don't know Buzz-O-Matic's.
Buzz, you were in. I have your name. You were in there. Yep. Actually, nope, I don't have Buzz in there. I thought it was a different name.
Ooh. Can we get some tomatoes in the chat for Mitch?
This is a bad
That was a rough day.
This is brutal. Missed 4 names.
Celtics, Cavs coming up. Do we want a little preview with Celtics Today host Allie Barefoot?
That's right. Their game is today. What time do they play?
Allie, do you wanna do a quick? Oh, jacket's coming off. I didn't know it was this serious.
Yikes.
Of course. Hello again. We are live at 5:30 p.m. Central Time for a 6 p.m. Central Time tip-off. May or may not have Donovan Mitchell tonight. We are waiting to see if Spida will play. So hopefully we get to take Game 4.
Here we go.
Yikes. Oh, yikes.
Game 4. This is a pivotal game.
Yes, sir.
Pivotal
Monumental.
game. Who's going to be joining Allie tonight? Type me if you're going to join our Celtics stream. A lot of Raider fans over in the Celtics
I'll tell you what,
streams.
right now, I've been tuning into a lot of Celtics streams.
It's been known here around the office as Raiders Report 2.0.
The luck of the nation.
Ron's going to be there. We know Ron Raspberry's going to be there.
Ron's been there. Raphael throwing the tomatoes at me. I deserve them.
LA Crash Dog said he's going to be there.
Probably.
Raider Rebel says, well, hello.
Well, hello. Nabman, you already know he's going to be there. All right, y'all, here's what's going to happen. Chuggs and I are going to hop on out of here again. Appreciate all y'all tuning in to today's show. Had a lot of fun. Oh, boy. What is this? What did I just get back here? Nabman, what did you message me? I'll look at it when I get off the show. But remember, the NFL schedule is going to come out on Wednesday. I'm going to probably have that schedule before the Raiders actually release it. So just another reason to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. I'd say the last 2-3 years we've been able to get the schedule before the Raiders actually release it. So just something to keep an eye out for. We'll do our best. Enjoy the rest of your night. Zalesbo, Eric M., Rebel, Martin, PG. Peace out. Have a good night. I'll see you guys later.